To start, welcome everybody to the Greed Academy 101 blockchain course or crypto for beginners or onboarding course. Definite name TBD. My name is Voshi. I'm the founder of the Greed Academy. Very much looking forward to hopefully teaching some of you new and cool, exciting things today. Here with me is Dani, who is the director of the Greed Academy, and he's going to be one of your mentors. There is Mausi, our head of education, who is the main person behind designing the whole curriculum and is also going to be one of your mentors. There's Boana, who's just walking up, counting people, I think, who is also going to be helping. Some other people here who will join in during the interactive courses. So if you have any questions or need help, they can approach you and help you set things up. Sanya over there, Mattia and Maria, who are our dev team lead and our designer. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Today we're going to go through some of the basic topics. This course assumes that you don't have a lot of crypto experience. Even if you do, I think you're going to be learning some new cool things, and we'll walk you through the basics again, because even a lot of people that are already set up with a wallet and played around usually don't fully understand all of the security concerns and all of the things that go into making sure you are safe. So we're going to start with the first course that Mausi is going to be presenting about general understanding of blockchain, the technology, and what it enables. Afterwards, we're going to be going into the wallet setup, explaining key pairs, private keys, and setting up a wallet. And then after the lunch break, we're going to learn a bit more of how to actually perform transactions safely. We're going to do some transfers, some swaps, some staking, learn a bit about validation. And in the end, we're going to end with a short presentation by two of the guest mentors, if everything goes right, telling you about their journey and how they would propose you start into this space, and have a small fireside chat where you'll be able to ask any questions and go into a short discussion. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm going to leave it to Mausi now. I think as long as new people join before the second class, which is about setting up a wallet, they are still able to follow everything afterwards. I hope you guys stay during the whole duration. I think it's going to be worth it. We're going to go into it later, but we have amazing partners in Solflare and Bonk, who both decided to put some tokens and Sol into all of your wallets for everybody who decides to stay and finish the whole course. So yeah, enjoy. We are here at any point. If you raise your hand, we can stop and have any questions. You need any help, we're here. Hope you enjoyed. I hope we all have fun together. I'm leaving it to Mausi. And yeah, thank you guys for coming. All right, GM. If anyone doesn't know, GM in the crypto world just means good morning. And one thing about it is you say it all the time, no matter what time of day it is. So GM to everyone, I hope you're all doing great today. My real name is Andrew. You don't have to call me Mausi. It is my crypto name. A lot of us work under pseudonyms when we work in the crypto space. And so that's why you'll hear Bosch and maybe some of the others call me Mausi, but my real name is Andrew. Both are okay. Call me whatever you want. All right. But nonetheless, really excited to get this started today. We're going to start off with something really simple. I am a very interactive teacher. I tend to ask questions, and I love it when students answer. Of course, if you're too nervous or you don't know an answer, that's also okay. But more than once during the lesson and during all the lessons, we'll prompt you guys if you have questions or concerns. If you're confused, you don't know something, raise your hand. If you're nervous about it, don't raise your hand. I don't know. You can try to send me a mind message or something like that. But nonetheless, really excited to teach you guys about what's going on today. So the first question that I have, like I said, I love to start with questions. Does anyone know, and no one that has experience, I know who most of you are in the crowd, can answer this question, but does anyone know what is blockchain? Nice, we got one person. Awesome, tell me, sir in the back, what is blockchain? All right, an immutable ledger. I love it. The terminology you just used there might have confused everyone. So immutable means that it's something that cannot be changed, and then the ledger is where all of that information is stored. So a blockchain is an immutable ledger. It's an awesome. Thank you for your answer. And yeah, so what we're going to do is kind of go through blockchain as if no one knows what those words mean, even though I just described them. And then we're going to show a short clip just to kind of go over that so that you guys can understand a little bit more about what a blockchain is. But pretty much at the essence, all blockchain is the ability to store something and it cannot be changed, and then to move that information around for other people to be able to read it. So that means that everything that is on that ledger is viewable by everyone. All right, so anyone can go onto their computer and they can access that information. They can check it and make sure it's true and real and that it actually happened. So I'm a little bit lazy when it comes to explaining everything. I think videos are way, way better sometimes. So I'm going to let us watch a quick video about this, and this is all accessible online as well. This is a free course that is available on YouTube, and I think it's Finematics, which is one of my favorites. But I'm going to let you guys watch it, and then we'll go from there.
Ever wonder if there's an easier way to complete transactions without having to deal with online wallets, banks, and third-party applications? Well, it's possible thanks to blockchain. Here's everything you need to know about blockchain. Imagine four friends, Jack, Ted, Sam, and Phil, meet up for dinner. After they're done, Jack pays the bill, and all of them decide to split the expense amongst each other. Now, on the next day, when Phil sends his share to Jack via online money transfer, the transaction goes through without a hitch. Then Ted and Sam send their respective shares to Jack, but their transactions don't go through. The failed transaction cites some issues at the bank. That's when Jack comes to know of the many ways a bank transaction could fail. It could be due to technical issues at the bank. One of their accounts were hacked, daily transfer limits being exceeded, and sometimes additional charges, like transfer charges, associated with transferring money. To solve these problems, the concept of cryptocurrency came into existence. Cryptocurrencies are a form of digital or virtual currency that brought on a technology known as blockchain. Thanks to blockchain, cryptocurrencies are immune to counterfeiting, don't require a central authority, and are protected by strong and complex encryption algorithms. And they're marketed more than thousands of cryptocurrencies like Litecoin, Ethereum, Zcash, and so on. What reigns supreme? Bitcoin. Now, let's go back to our previous example and have Bill, Ted, and Sam send Jack 2 Bitcoins each as their contribution to the previous night's dinner. Let's assume Bill's had. Also, this is a very, very expensive thing. So this was made with the idea when Bitcoin was, a few dollars. All right, sick. And Sam have 3 Bitcoins in reserve, while Jack has 5. First, Bill sends 2 Bitcoins to Jack. A record is created in the form of a block. The details between them is permanently inscribed in this block. This record also holds the number of Bitcoins each of the friends own. So, after Bill's transaction, Jack has 7 Bitcoins, while Phil has 1. Following this, Sam and Ted send 2 Bitcoins to Jack. A new block is created for each of these transactions. These blocks hold the transaction details as well as how many Bitcoins Sam, Ted, and Jack have in reserve. These blocks are linked to each other, as each of them takes reference from the previous one for the number of Bitcoins each friend owns. This chain of records, or blocks, is called a ledger, and this ledger. There's our ledger from the gentleman earlier. Is shared among all the friends, which acts as a public distributed ledger. This forms the basis of blockchain. So, what happens when Bill has only 1 Bitcoin left, and he tries to send 2 more Bitcoins to Jack? The transaction will not go through. This is because all the friends have copies of the ledger, and it's clear that Bill has only 1 Bitcoin left. His friends will flag this transaction as invalid. A hacker will not be able to alter the data in the blockchain because each user has a copy of the ledger. The data within the blocks are encrypted by complex algorithms. All of this is made possible with the help of blockchain technology. Blockchain can be described as a collection of records linked with each other, strongly resistant to alteration, and protected using cryptography. Now, let's have a closer look at the Bitcoin transaction between Jack and Phil to find out how it works. Every user at Bitcoin Network has 2 keys, a public key and a private key. The public keys We're going to pause here simply because this goes into the next lesson, which talks about your public and private keys. But nonetheless, some of the core information, I don't know if I even need this. Can everyone hear me? Yes. All right. Yeah. Oh, well, actually, do I need to use this for your videos? I'll just turn it on anyways. All right. I'll talk through it, but I'll talk not as loud as I usually do. All right. So as we can see in this short video, I highly recommend taking a peek at it later. We can make sure to share it with you guys if you want to continue to watch it. It kind of goes through every single step and how the blockchain works. One of the easiest examples that standardly is used when it comes to the blockchain is kind of like reading a book. All right. And inside that book has a lot of different information and words. And when you're using a blockchain, all you're doing is you're adding another layer to the block. You're adding another sentence in this example so that the block ends up filling up with more information. And as everyone knows, if you access a book, right, anyone can read it and make sure that it says the same things. If you read the Three Musketeers, no matter who else gets handed the Three Musketeers, every single sentence in that book should be the same. Unless you have some translation errors, we're not going to get into that kind of thing. But nonetheless, the example kind of stands the same, that whenever you're reading a book, all those words are always going to be the same for everyone that reads it. The blockchain works exactly like that. And so what we want to make sure with blockchain technology is that everyone gets to have a fair share of this block and understand that everyone has the exact same interpretation of every single block. And so this happens over and over, and every single person that transacts gets to look at that history and make sure that it's all true. And so the block process kind of works in a few different steps. All of this does happen instantly because of what's happening on chain. Like they said earlier, there's an intense algorithm that happens. Bitcoin or some networks use what's called proof of work. We'll kind of explain a little bit more about proof of work and proof of history a little bit later. But nonetheless, for block creation, someone needs to send someone something. It is only based on transactions. So this means you're sending one thing from one person to another. The Bitcoin network in this example, right, does not actually do anything else. The Bitcoin network is actually kind of boring when it comes to everything else. We'll talk about a little bit of NFTs. We'll talk about tokens later. But the Bitcoin network really only does one thing, and that's sending from one person to the next person. And so each block has to go through a sequence of events. And all of these sequences start with a transaction request, kind of like in the example when they're paying for dinner for $205,000, which is a really expensive dinner because the price of Bitcoin today is around $105,000 per one coin. So normally you would not be sending a full Bitcoin to someone else. Maybe you'd be sending a fraction of a Bitcoin. But nonetheless, you send that transaction to them. Then the person that is receiving it has to check. Then you check, and everyone else that is using that network also has to check. And so that's why there has to be work involved to be able to make sure that all of these are seeing the exact same thing. And so ultimately what happens next is then the block happens, and after the block, we have the new block is added to the chain. It is also checked, and then after all the checking, all the blocks, then finally your transaction ends. But in real time, this can happen, at least on Bitcoin, it happens in under a minute nowadays. It used to take a lot longer. Maybe it would take like 20 or 30 minutes, which when you compare it to your credit card or to your bank card is like an infinity. Picture going to a dinner and then you try to pay and you have to wait 30 extra minutes on top of that to be able to just pay for your dinner. So a big problem happened with this, and people really didn't like how fast it was. So more and more people ended up doing work to make it happen faster. And then they also created new networks or new blockchains that could do transactions even faster than that. One example that we'll end up using today is Solana. So the Bitcoin network is one blockchain, the Solana network is another blockchain, and in Solana, transactions happen faster than a second. They compare pretty much to your credit card nowadays. So when you tap your card, it'll instantly fulfill that transaction. All the work will happen, and you'll pay for your dinner or whatever you need to pay for. And so blocks are a really vital part of blockchain. It's even in the core name of it, right? And so the consensus that happens over the blockchain is what makes it more secure than what we usually have with banks. Simply because since it's an open ledger, as in everyone can see it, that then means that we all have equal access to be able to make sure that transactions really happen. And Bitcoin's history is actually because of a large part of Bitcoin's history came from this, simply because people were making transactions that would double spend. So that means in the example they had earlier, when one of the gentlemen tried to send 1 Bitcoin when he owed 2, in a normal network, you can kind of get away with that. There are faulty transactions and fake transactions. And so the Bitcoin network, because of its consensus model, doesn't allow for that. And so one of the easiest ways, or not the easiest, but the technical definition of a blockchain is a secure management of a shared ledger, which we kind of discussed earlier, what the shared ledger is, and then where a transaction is verified, stored on network or on the block without any sort of governing authority. And that's the last part that I didn't talk about, of course, is that all of this happens without banks. And so it can happen at any time, and anyone can start a transaction. There's no intermediary or something in between stopping a transaction. They can't limit your amount that you can send. They cannot tell you that you cannot do it, and you can do it anytime, day or night. So this is one of the big. This is one of the big proponents of blockchain technology, is that it beats out banks because it isn't limited by them. But you do have a cost that comes with that. So because we're not using banks, that means that we're not as secure in the sense of backing up your money. So when you're sending your money, you're actually sending it from your own self to another person, as opposed to using the bank as an intermediary who will back up the transaction. In the real world, this pretty much means when you go to an ATM and you take out your money from the bank, you know that the bank isn't going to use, you know that the bank isn't going to use it for something else, at least you hope, and then you'll be able to pull out that money. And with the blockchain, when you're using this bank, if you mess up, if you go to the wrong ATM, if someone else has a scam ATM and you try to pull that money out, they can actually just take it from you. So there's a lot of risks with blockchain in the sense of security, even though itself is secure, which is kind of a funny thing to think about, that when you send to someone, it's secure. I can send to this gentleman in the front. I know I'm sending it to him. It's secure, and everyone can check it. But if he does something malicious along the path, not only can he take what I send to him, he can take everything that's in my wallet. So this is where security is vitally important to blockchain, and understanding and making sure that you are secure when you're doing something. Now, to kind of discuss a little bit of the history of blockchain, again, I kind of said that banks were kind of the root cause of why we created this technology. Back, I'm not sure if you guys were around or you heard about, there was a large banking issue that happened back in 2007 and 2008. At that time, it crashed the US markets. And well, at that time, America had a little bit more power, so it caused a world economic collapse, which pretty much impacted, if anyone wasn't around at that time, it definitely impacted your parents. And it caused a lot of issues with trust in the banking system. And so there had been some research done prior to that time about figuring out ways to secure transactions and make them transparent. Because as I said earlier with banks, when you have your money in the bank, is it actually in the bank? And if your answer to that is yes, I would say that you're very wrong. It is definitely not there. And the bank is using it to earn yield. So they pretty much give you a balance on the front end that has all of your money. And then on the back end, your money is somewhere else making money for them, right? Because they need to be able to be sustainable. Why do you think that your bank yield in a savings account is so low? Why do you think that inflation is causing issues with everyone's dollars? It's because the banks use that money, of course, to help promote themselves so they make money. And then whenever you need yours, they just throw it in. But if you ask for a large amount, like I recently needed to move about 20,000 US dollars from my bank account to the person that I was renting from, and the bank instantly stopped it and said they need to call me. And they're like, we'll call you in a day or two. And then they called me in a day or two, and then they talked to me for an hour about how I need to make sure I'm not moving my money into a scam place, and that I need to make sure that I'm safe. But the entire time I was like, I know where my money is going, and I choose to do that. So pretty much the backstory of Bitcoin is that people wanted to solve that issue. They realized that there was something wrong with the intermediary, which was the bank. And so what happened was, over years, as you can see up there, in 1991, there were some researchers that came up with just the idea of a technology that would be able to solve this problem with the intermediary, which is the banks. And then from there, we have some really important ideas that came out in between. I'm not going to bore you with all the extra science, but pretty much In between 91 and all the way up to 2008, there are people that came up with the idea of cryptography, which is how the blockchain works. Then there are people that came up with blockchain itself. And then finally in 2008, we had a full research paper that came out by the infamous Satoshi Nakamoto, which there was recently an HBO series about who he is. I didn't watch it because I don't care. I am just happy that he created this white paper, and it is the Bitcoin white paper, which is what we have today. And Bitcoin was meant to be the first, right? The idea that we can actually create our own banking system that doesn't even use banks, and all it needs to do is work with each other through a mechanism called proof of work, which means that all of these computers take and process this algorithm, which we saw earlier in the blocks in the blockchain. And so Satoshi Nakamoto is noted to be the actual starter of Bitcoin and therefore the start of blockchain technology. And then from there, of course, lots of things started to happen after that. I'm sure some of you have heard maybe some of the allegories about the 200,000 Bitcoin pizza that was sold back a long time ago. People were spending Bitcoins for anything. It was known as the dark web coin. It was known as all kinds of different names. And it had like a very shady history for those that didn't understand it. But for those that did, they quickly saw that this is a solution to a very, very large problem that we have, which is the banking system. And so later on, some people decided that Bitcoin was a little bit too boring. As I said earlier, Bitcoin was originally just created to transact. I send to you, you send to me, the end. That's the entire technology. And people realized that you could probably build upon that. And that's where the big monster of Ethereum came around. I'm not going to dive too deep into Ethereum because we're Solana maxis here, but nonetheless, Ethereum created something for the first time ever called smart contracts. And smart contracts has changed everything that we know about blockchain technology. It has literally enabled all of us to be here today. It even enables us as the Solana group that we come from and our validators to even exist because of that original idea of smart contracts. Smart contracts allow for you to build on top of the blockchain. So not only can you transact, you can do pretty much whatever you'd like, as long as you can build the code behind it. And so we're not the coding base. If you want to learn more about smart contracts, there are other chats that are going on. But for us, the basics are Ethereum was then created, and then it enabled us to all be here today. And then from there, of course, Bitcoin has had all its anniversaries. It went from $0.0000001 to its ridiculous amount that it's at today. And I mean, obviously, people think that it'll continue to do that in the future. It is now seen as a store of value, just like gold. And people are accumulating it because they believe that it's an asset that will continue to go into the future. Again, we're not going to go into too deep of what Bitcoin can and cannot do, but I just wanted to give you a brief history of where it comes from and the blockchain. I'm going to take a hot second and see if there's any questions. And I feel like I'm talking a lot, not as much interaction on this lesson. I'm sorry. Yes, what's up?
What's the difference between proof of work and proof of stake?
Ooh, this is an awesome question. So I don't want to dive too deep into it, but this is a consensus mechanism. So this is how transactions are verified on chain. So think of it like if everyone needs to make sure all the blocks are checked, then proof of work is done by computers in the sense that they have to process and do the algorithm and check the entire chain every single time. And so they use usually GPUs, but now they use ASIC miners. I'm not going to dive too much into that, but pretty much these are computer systems that are built specifically to check and make sure that all the transactions are correct. And they're given rewards whenever they find that something is correct. So the way that the whole network works is off of all of these miners, and the miners are rewarded for their work in Bitcoin. And so there's a huge competition now going on in the world to have the most miners so you can accumulate more Bitcoin. So that's how Bitcoin can make sure that its transactions are correct. Now, proof of history or proof of stake, which is, as I have here, proof of stake up there, that's the mechanism that Solana uses and now Ethereum uses. So proof of stake, we're actually going to get into in another lesson, but the idea behind it is that it's also a consensus mechanism. And this consensus mechanism uses the asset itself. So for Solana, it uses Solana to be able to check the Solana transactions. I'm not going to dive into it because it sounds really confusing, but it's another thing that we're going to discuss in a few lessons, which is going to be this afternoon.
I can maybe try short.
yeah.
Just so when you need to verify the blockchain, how do you trust that somebody who produced the other block has the authority and power and that you should trust that producer of the new block? In a proof of work that is done by computing power, what those miners are solving are random, very heavy algorithms until they get the, let's say, encryption result that has enough zeros at the end to prove they could, spin the random encryption so many times until they get the desired result. And proof of work networks have this technology where there is more miners present. The solution becomes harder. When it's less, it becomes easier to balance how much rewards are being given out and how and to promote new machines that really gets created at it. The proof of stake, that proof doesn't come from the machine power and being able to solve the mathematical equation, but it comes from the proof of a validator that has stake delegates to it from users as a proof of trust in that entity to confirm the block. And for a long time, this narrative of Bitcoin being very energy heavy was going around. And proof of stake came as an idea of how we get to trust somebody without them proving they're actually, have something going on behind why we should trust them. So they don't have to run like a mining farm to prove they have enough computing power, but they can get trust from the delegators that prove they are a trusted entity. It was intended to kind of lower the energy impact and kind of change the dynamic. And it's now believed that it is a dominant approach to especially smart contracts. There's going to be a lot of debate, and Bitcoin maxis are going to always tell you that nothing beats proof of work. But when you go and think deeply, and I can talk about this for an hour now, I would say yes, if the network is decentralized enough, with enough entities and enough people being involved, proof of work, I don't think that very bigger, very more really a start assumption of how big.
There's a question, yeah. Yeah, so for example, you use Solana like other people points. You don't have to wait half an hour for your fish. So I'm wondering what's the trade-off? About that?
The trade-off is that the machine on Solana needs to be crazy powerful to be a validator. So a validator on Solana has the minimum requirements of, I think, 54 for Threadripper, 128 gigabytes of RAM, and that's considered like a low machine. You're not going to make a lot of blocks. So the machine requirement is something that people were holding against Solana, and that's what enables Solana to process literally tens of thousands of transactions a second in a perfect world. That I think our average TPS during the last period was around 7,000 actual non-bot transactions that were confirmed in a block. So that's kind of the trade-off of that. And because of that, because of how machines are, the requirement of machines is heavy, the barrier to entry to be a validator is higher. So the assumption of people who had something to say against it was that it's very hard for more people to adopt it, which Solana proved it's very wrong because we now have more validators and a bigger Nakamoto factor, like a coefficient of decentralization than most of the other chains lower. Not most, all of the other chains with higher machine requirements to validate.
Another one? I saw someone else. Okay. What's your relationship?
Our relationship with Bonk during today's course is Bonk decided to award 1 million Bonk to each one of the different kids today's course. That's support of education, and it's simple as that. For this one, they decided to support what we did.
Yeah, that's just a support system. Yeah, hopefully in the future too. Any other?
Security strategy was described. That how we would problem that our transaction is physical. You need like one check. Well, so this is something we're also getting to. It's if you get the wallets. Is that you, like a bank, you not have to delete your personal information field to use that they also. So all your information is actually behind a key that only you have access to, and that is a bunch of encrypted numbers and letters that, unless you share it directly with someone else, they wouldn't have access to.
And there are also solutions to, I think, what you're asking, called zero knowledge solutions on different blockchains, which do enable by using different approaches and smart contracts to actually make transactions that are private and that cannot be fully tracked. But this full transparency was one of the initial kind of unique selling propositions of using blockchain. So there are applications where that's actually the best advantage for blockchain, but for some other things where having everything public is not effective, there are solutions that are blockchain implemented where you still get a pan certificate that it's yours certificate, but you cannot fully connect any transaction fund to your wallet, but that's kind of a more advanced Yes, for 100%, and that's why you don't know when it because the etiquette and the hygiene of your wallet. And if you give anybody your the public key at any point, you can expect on a regular blockchain that doesn't have any zero knowledge being integrated, that everybody can always see the full history of any transaction that you wallet made before. But it's super convenient that, as you'll learn soon, you can make a new public key that you use for other purposes if you don't want to be using the one that's connected. So like having another bank account is way more complicated. Making 20 different accounts on Solana network, key pairs like private and public keys, is going to be as simple as pressing one button in your wallet and it's completely new wallet that nobody can connect with your other wallets, even though they live in the same.
Yeah. This guy here had a question first. What was your?
I have this list.
Oh, okay, awesome. All right, then. No. Yes.
Yeah. No. We are now going back to how the house actually works. There are ways how you can prove that your you match the required solution or something by encryption. So the proof that that is actually validated by the entire network does not necessarily mean that the exact transaction is fully public and visible. So this is like an advanced tech topic, but you can provide proof. Maybe but yeah, I think more technical here would be best to answer that. But there are ways that we can prove that something is validated without the transaction. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Could you repeat the second half?
51%. Yeah. I think every blockchain has that problem, as if you do control over 50%. Well, it's again a topic that can go into a bit more depth with super minority, super majority. There are things on networks that require over 66%. So, for example, for Solana, when there are bigger changes made to the network, where the governance body is validators weighted on how much stake they have, you cannot implement a change to the network with 60%, for example. But in theory, a side transaction could be done on proof of stake networks with the majority, but it is even a bit harder because of how things are set up than on the basic proof of work.
Of course, yeah.
You don't have to stake anything. And our floor course is actually going into validating.
Yeah, you're going to stake today. So that's the amount of SOL that you own to be able to stake it is
Pretty much irrelevant.
To be a validator, you don't have to be staking anything. But you need to have that strong machine that we talked about before.
Yeah,
And to start voting and producing blocks, you need to have staked out the CPU. Doesn't need to be yours, it can be from anybody else. And to be participating like actively. Right now, I think validator is profitable only if you have over 30,000 Solana stake. You can be producing blocks under, but you're paying for the votes more than your rewards would be how many blocks worth for you.
Yeah, we'll go over all that when we staking costs. Yeah, what's up?
So,
Yeah, tokens.
cool. This is awesome. Thanks. Okay.
All right, we're gonna quickly wrap up this section, and then we're gonna take a little break. So, quickly, just to kind of go over one last little bit. I have a little thing here. Why does it matter? So, again, the way that we see blockchain and use blockchain technology is starting to slowly change the world. I'm sure, well, maybe not. Some of you have heard that some countries have actually transitioned to using Bitcoin as a reserve. Now with as an American, my Trump president, I'm very excited about, has decided to use Bitcoin now. So I'm excited about that. So that's cool. A lot of nations are starting to kind of use it as a reserve currency. And that's kind of starting to impact the way that the world is viewing blockchain technology. That's why this classroom is almost full. Maybe the incentive helps a little bit, but even if not the incentive, still understanding blockchain technology is changing the way that people view it around the world. And so this is all kind of changing how we interact with banks as well, and how we wonder, where we're going to store our value in the future. So that's just kind of like a little bit of a wrap up for what's going on. I did put a little bit of some impacts of blockchain technology, just so that we can kind of see. So as some of the questions kind of hinted towards, right, there is enhanced trust and transparency when it comes to this, but that transparency also comes at people being able to look at all of your transaction history, especially if you share your wallet address with someone else. Then they can easily go to somewhere and check out all of your transaction history. That is why we don't always recommend for people to do that, but if you'd like to, it's also okay. Just don't do anything crazy that you don't want your mom to see. Nonetheless, there's lots of other things, of course. I think the financial innovation is probably one of the largest ones. A big motivator for most people to move and use blockchain technology is the financial impact that it could potentially have. Obviously, it can go either direction, so we are going to be trying to teach you today to be both safe and secure if you decide to enter into this crazy world of blockchain. That should be your number one priority, is being safe and secure. Number two is, crazy number go up, buy meme coin, whatever. But in reality, that isn't the focus of our course at all. Actually, yesterday when they had the meme coin discussion, I couldn't handle it because I was just like, no, never, don't do it. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your effort to even learn about memes. I'd much rather you take a course like this and try to understand why it works, what you can do to make sure that you're safe. And then from there, adventure into the great beyond after maybe a year or 2 years having fun. But that's just me. I'm fiscally conservative and I'm not a DJ. But nonetheless, there are other things as well that blockchain can allow for you to do, which are governance models. As anyone that's here today knows that this is called AthensDAO. All right, so DAO is a governance model. It's decentralized autonomous organization, or dudes arguing online, as I learned yesterday. Which is very true, though. DAOs tend to be a lot of arguments about nothing burgers, usually about who thinks that this thing is going to be awesome, and then it's just a terrible idea. But nonetheless, governance models are really awesome to think about, and because of blockchain technology, it allows for us to create things like systems and networks and states even that can be set up across the globe without ever actually even knowing someone. I myself am part of a few different DAOs, and I think that they're really awesome in the fact that I don't need to know who's on the other side. All we do is we vote on things that we think that we should do. If there's enough people that agree, then we can go forward with it. And so blockchain technology is starting to really change the way that people interact. And as you see with number 4, you got the supply chain. So it's actually hitting real world assets, or RWAs as they're called as well. Blockchain is starting to impact things like gaming. If anyone in the crowd is a gamer, you know that when you play a game, you have a player character, maybe you have some items or something like that. These can all be on blockchain instead, technically, and then you have full ownership of it. So there's lots of different use cases for blockchain technology. We're not going to get into all of them today.
but nonetheless, lots of fun things I think probably in the future.
Before we take a break, just make sure. Any final questions before we take a 10-minute breather? Yes.
So, okay. That is why Bitcoin or other currency does not make it endless, by the way. It's one, we get decentralized we take forward the validating to have been that good. So from here, talking like a containers, we're not talking about the distribution of the we're talking about making sure that they not like the line can make and pay these already. And compared to $23 you pay the ethanol or fuel, they are spotting young guys that didn't market right. So it is not giving them any advantage, and definitely that they are starting to use that. It might be important to the future that they want to, they don't want to live house on it, be their pattern. So them holding more does not make them like a centralized, they are states of the state, able to bargain by things like your forward, and they are not if they touch yeah, like the touch some people to mess with in any way by buying in Kobe. It hope speculate about right the transaction by investing and selling final quote like teams or like with land like on the stock exchange was also kind of these people like instead of like it wasn't all and there were a lot of manipulation like foreign manipulation right so
Yeah, but what you said exactly goes against how what you were. When you say so decentralized and entirely manipulated, this cannot be manipulated. Stock exchange problems usually came because people who were, brokers and firms are going to sell things they don't have and buy things they don't have on the open market to buy. That's where the problem arises. Just so it's not like stock exchanges count most of the stock in that indicates probably, but that they were manipulating the actual your balance, the same as in fact you would go into, and that's the main reason why the big crash happened in 2008, because people were shorting things without actually
That didn't exist. There are things that they're
Yeah.
making up fake orders.
So you're going to order something from your broker, he's going to sell you the thing that he doesn't got, hoping that if you ever want to, if you keep buying it, and he does not know if you want to be able. So they are pretty much doing some speculation on making money on your order that they cannot do. Bitcoin, you cannot buy Bitcoin without actually buying it.
so but they're saying
Yeah, it's not privatization at all. I see it as, look, in cryptocurrencies, even Bitcoin, right? The adoption started small. There were people who subscribed a lot. Somebody paid tens of thousands of Bitcoin for a piece of that, yeah? And now they think it's crazy. Now it's more country can buy that, but Bitcoin would be like, oh, this is adoption. It's very much not just true that this technology is something that even the biggest country be taking notice and people.
You have one more here.
What was about that story there? Of course, and is it like buying Bitcoin or is like a bet on that it will go up?
So in the USA, we like to mess up everything, and we need to heavily regulate everything that ever comes into the country. So ETFs are a way to signify ownership of something in a legal way in the US. So the Bitcoin ETF, the answer to your question is yes and no. Like,
It's complicated.
Yeah.
It should be fully backed by Bitcoin and follow the threat, but because of how American financial system works, and this being something that's offered on a different market, it can actually depend on the price just because of how actively and heavily is being traded there. But at the end of the day, it should be fully backed.
There should be a reserve.
Bitcoin. So technically, it should be like in Bitcoin, but just it's two different markets. A lot of arbitrage opportunities happen. So speculation is going to be Bitcoin goes up, BTF price is going to go up, and it opens opportunities of you if you have the ability to trade both.
To be able to according to DeFi and lead to bloating that the
Yeah, just think of it like it's a time thing. So the U.S. markets are only open from Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, but the Bitcoin market is technically open 24/7. Like you can buy Bitcoin anytime, anywhere you want. That ETF is going to have like a gray level in between where the price actually is and where that level is because of when it trades. So yeah, that's why. But it's still backed by Bitcoin itself. So like, it's not like it's fake Bitcoin or anything. They're not creating, because you can't create new Bitcoin, right? As we talked earlier, right? So it's all there. It's just that there might be a discrepancy in price on what you see in the market. But nonetheless, you're actually buying Bitcoin if you purchase the Bitcoin ETF.
but the price might be a little. But you know, it's not like it's no that's the kind of thing we got there. The back, the let them speak to the back.
All right, last question, and then
Alright, out, so like. Right. But on the the guys you both you know, person made it, but
so as a, I'm going to try to answer this as well as I can. As a blockchain
naturalist kind of felt. I do not believe so. As a blockchain naturalist, I do not think that there's some sort of hidden button on it. Simply because I spent the time researching the networks, so I believe in their synthetic models and I've seen how the things actually work. And I'm not a dev, so my reading of Solana, you know, pure erratic, a little bit rough and reading things to serious, but I would think that both systems are set up in a way that there's no way that someone should be able to service it. So it's a very chaotic by the firm and if they would then see the if they do yeah, they find out. To be honest, I don't really pay attention to the origin of the powder. Another stuff is funny. The couple people that it actually I make things that he doesn't tell the wall that I just be looking for. There was a game where when they want to build them, they are the wealthy from some other entity and I stand up. Because of how the American wall was treated and that even although it was touching about the Solana, the Solana testing very much statistic and make and start people like this. But a lot of projects that come from the US are not like the entity that launches the tokens is not officially in the US because the SEC then has a way easier time, and SEC was like a mission to try to get anybody. Like this was not like overreacting. The thing was, if your token is successful, SEC is going to come after you with the hope that you're going to find an agreement and pay them off, and then they go great. And not just SEC, actually the same people well. There is it,
but there are projects that definitely, I think, fall into very legitimate and security, but SEC, in crypto, it was said for years, if you're successful, SEC will try, because they know it's better for you probably to pay than face someone's backlash, or go through a very hard trial thing with them. So it's more of a, we can probably get money, and hopefully now, the one possible thing we think about is the administration in the US should be that these laws become a bit more normal and that launching predicting in the US is viable.
All right, I'm gonna cap us for now so that people can have a short break. All right, and then we're gonna come back with another lesson.
Just for a second before we take the break.
We've done the option and you for them more lesson, and there is unfortunately 40 minutes from like
2 or a week before, we're gonna have lunch. And we can choose either to have all these here we can send out eating the econ, or we can follow the thought like thing is nothing out there. Any person. Like I here, yeah, that was a really here. And once we came here to the next lesson, before it ends, we're going to be putting some pre-academic speakers on here to mark everybody who gets from both creation to be eligible for the reward and just take one group photo. But for now, what did you think? And go down.
I was trying to do a countdown and then it did the commercial.
Let's make it 10 minutes great. So let's take what you so they think. Even the mouse makes it.
You're all here and ready. So, before we start, we have something for all of you that you're going to need at one point during this lesson. So, we're going to give each one of you a Grid Academy recovery sheet that we're going to explain why, a Grid Academy pen as a souvenir, and a Grid Academy sticker that we would like you to put on you, because everybody who's here during this course, after that we would prefer to just have the people who started at least with this course for the remainder and for the rewards. So we're going to do 1-1-1 for each one of you. I'm going to ask 2 of you to give everybody one, and you can be doing it while we are doing this lesson. So this lesson is going to walk us through creation of the wallet, some explanations. I'm going to let Andrew open for a few minutes, and then I'll take over. This is intended to be way more relaxed than the previous lesson. So any questions, any problems, any help you need, we are here. We fully expect like 5, 6, 7 of us here to be approaching you and helping you with any problems you have. It's important that you have either a laptop or a phone with you. Phone is completely fine. We're going to be setting up your wallet on whatever device you prefer. And if you're all ready, I'm going to leave Mousy, give the word to Mousy, and let's go.
All right, welcome back. Long time no see. Session 2, like we said, is much more interactive. We're going to kind of talk just a little bit. We're going to end up letting you guys kind of work together and go through stuff during this lesson. Definitely more focused on the interactive portion of it. Just to kind of start off, as Vashi said, and as I said before, I love questions. So if you do have them, please never hesitate to ask. During the interactive portion, like I said, since we're going to be moving around, just make sure if you do have a question and we don't see you, if we're talking to someone else, just be patient. Make sure to wave us down if you have some sort of question. But nonetheless, kind of always like to start off, like I said, with a question to everyone. The last question was about what is blockchain. We had an excellent answer before. I'm kind of wondering what you guys think about security. So my question to you is, which is more secure and which would you pick? All right, would you rather have a bank have full control of your money, or would you rather be in full control of your money? What does anyone think? It doesn't, yeah? All right, we got someone that likes full control. Anyone like the banks? I mean, it's okay. I use banks. So it's okay to think that they're secure because they are, but they're secure in a different way. So just to highlight, obviously, today with our wallet creation, when you're creating your wallet, you are now the bank, all right? That means that no one else in this room except for you has control over your money when it comes to this. Unless you share what you'll soon learn with your private key to someone else, then, well, they'll have full control. But I saw a hand up there. What's up?
You know, any people with money, I know, giving about money and the facts and all the things money for pay for product.
So the answer to your question is kind of complex in the sense that there are things that we'll talk about today too called centralized exchanges, which are connected directly to a bank.
Another question, I have it theory, it doesn't matter, and I want to frustrate so they can pay from it.
So what kind of banks would do that?
Yeah.
Sending directly on-chain to a bank is very, very difficult and usually involves some sort of intermediary. simply because banks involve KYC, which means know your customer, or KYB, which means know your business. They have certain rules and regulations that they must follow. There are not many banks that will allow you to direct transfer from your crypto wallet to a bank. Few and far between. But there are some blockchain actual companies that have tried to create a solution for that by partnering with banks that will allow you to directly connect to a bank account so that you can pay for things like a house or anything else that you need to. We're not going to be discussing all of those today, but they do exist and they are on chain, and they're on multiple chains nowadays where you can actually connect your wallet to a bank account without needing to fill in all that extra information. But great question. The second thing I was going to ask is about security. So when you connect to a bank, like I was saying before, with KYC and KYB, you have to be able to give them your credentials, your full name, maybe some sort of number that authenticates that you're a real person. With the wallet today, you won't have to do any of that extra stuff. You will simply need to put in a few words and you will be able to create your own bank. And then it is encrypted and you are that wallet. All right, you don't need to put in any personal information unless you want to. You can rename your wallet to your name or something silly if you want to. I usually go with funny names and emojis when I name my wallets because emojis are silly and that's how I kind of like to do stuff. But all that'll be up to you once you get your wallet created today. So we're going to be going through and creating a wallet today. And so I'll let Vashi take back over and help you set up your first ever crypto wallet. And yeah. Do you want to quickly talk about some differences, or would you like me to do it?
Oh, you can be my guest.
So just before we get into the actual creation, making sure everyone gets their pen, their sticker, and their little notepad, I created a small chart just to kind of tell you a little bit about how banks and how crypto are similar. I know that I tend to, like I said earlier, I am a blockchain maximalist. I definitely think that I prefer it, but some of the same terminology and things do exist in the real world. Do not be, misguided by me to think that these things do not exist in real banks. All right, a bank does actually have something like a ledger. All right, and that is an account that keeps a track of all of your records. When you go to your banking site, you can see every transaction you ever had. That still is a ledger. All right, it's a very different ledger from a blockchain, but it's a ledger nonetheless. Banking has fees. All right, every single time that you take a transaction, everyone loves it. When you go to the ATM, you want to get cash out, and you owe $5 extra or €5 extra or whatever it is to that bank or to that ATM or to whoever the frick owns that you don't even know. You still have to pay that fee. In blockchain, they also have fees. Nothing happens for free, right? So just because you're using blockchain doesn't mean there isn't a fee involved. Now, those fees can be very, very minimal. Like I said earlier with Solana, they can be a fraction of a penny. With Bitcoin, they can also be down pretty low. With Ethereum back in the day, sadly, it could have been hundreds of dollars to be able to do a transaction. But now that they moved to proof of stake, they brought that fee down. Different blockchains have different transaction fees. You still have to pay those to make the transaction happen. The money on blockchain, though, is very transparent. When you pay that ATM fee, you give $5 to the bank, you have no idea where that $5 went. But on blockchain, you can actually trace that transaction. That fee actually goes to pay for that transaction to happen. It pays the people that did it. On Solana, it's the validator. On Bitcoin, it's the miners. So those fees are actually very transparent. You know exactly what it's going to. You can see whoever got it. You can see who won, who lost, that kind of thing. And finally, of course, transactions happen on both blockchain and in banks. Of course, we know that those transactions are different because the blockchain transaction happens through the shared ledger, and then you have that transparency. But then on a bank, you don't actually know where they spend that transaction fee and what happens with it. So there are a lot of similarities between banks when it comes to blockchain. I don't want to misguide you and think that, that blockchain is so dissimilar that they're not the same in that regard. So just kind of wanted to give you a little bit of an idea about why we choose to use the blockchain side over the standard world bank side. All right. And then without any ado, I'm now going to hand it over to Vash, where we are going to start your wallet adventure.
Yeah, so we are going to explain a bit more about private and public keys, what keeps them safe, what you need to be concerned about, and how you can be sure that you are employing best practices. But as a start, I would ask you all to download the Solflare wallet if you don't have it yet. On solflare.com, you can find the links to both the mobile version and for the extension in the browser. So pick whatever works for you. If you're on Google, you have an app. If you're on iPhone, you have an app, or an extension for your browser on your laptops. And then I'm going to give you a few minutes to download it. There is no need to press anything else or click anything else. Just let's make sure that you have either the app or the extension installed, and then we go from there.
So,
While doing that, is anybody missing the package of pen, recovery sheet, and the sticker? One missing? Everybody else got one? Perfect.
here.
Your recovery sheet is the most important thing you're receiving. Do not lose it. Or if you do lose it, let us have the words first.
I'm going to go through a setup, then explaining the fit.
Both are so both are okay. I have it set to more talk about hot and cold when they're setting up the wallet, and then we go into the while they're like setting it up.
Don't worry, we'll go through that for people that already have it. So let's just make sure everybody has the app or the extension, and then we'll walk through all of the next steps.
You're too advanced. Slow down. No bonuses, sadly. Everyone, we're
Okay,
fair, we're fair
can I
on
get a
everything.
hands who now has the extension or the app downloaded?
Good. Does anyone not have it?
Okay, yeah. Anybody
not
still
have it
not?
yet?
Okay, don't worry. We wait a few more minutes.
Yeah.
Take your time.
For those that do have it, maybe you can do desktop and mobile. So if you haven't done one, do the other. If you haven't done, just kidding.
Tiny. It's tiny.
Good now? Anybody still pending?
What?
We all have it now? Perfect. Okay. So there's two ways to approach this. One is to first install and then go explain other things. The other one would be to first explain and then walk you through the steps. But I think as long as you follow carefully and not skip anything that we're saying, let's first go through the installation of the wallet. Oh, this is
how to do it if you didn't do it already. So sorry.
okay.
Here we go.
Okay, so now that you have your wallets downloaded, we are going to create the wallet. Whoever downloaded it for the first time, you should have a small I want a new wallet, create a new wallet button there. For the people who already had Solflare installed, let me walk you through what we are going to do after we finish setting up the wallets for new people. Basically, we're just going to add one new wallet under your seed phrase that you already have stored. So majority, I'm expecting first-time installation, press create a new wallet. Solflare is going to give you some words here. And these words are the most important thing into making your wallet
I can't
safe.
freeze it.
So now that you're on that screen, don't show this to anybody else. But you need to understand this has nothing connected with you. We could easily just repeat the step and you're going to get a completely different 12 words for your wallet. The number of wallets, possible combinations is basically infinite. not really infinite, but the number is so high that has more, I think, more than the atoms in the universe or something.
Yeah.
So we can make new wallets and give this one away as whenever we want to. So first I'm going to be talking about why and how we're going to treat these 12 words now and what keeps them safe. So there is a standard that I'm not going to be boring you with that defines a few thousand words of the English language picked by having their first 4 letters different than any other word. So even though they are full words, the only important part of these words is the first 4 letters. Not super important to you, but I think a funny trivia. These words have so many possible combinations to create a 12-word string that it's basically impossible that any 2 people will make the same strings, and that somebody can ever use your wallet by guessing it. So this became a norm because it's way easier and nicer for a user to be using and storing the words compared to using a private key, which I'm now going to try to explain. So a key pair is what we call a combination of a public key and a private key. A public key just means the address of your wallet. So if you want to receive some tokens from me, public key is what I need. If I send anything to that public key, your wallet will receive it. The private key is what allows you to control whatever happens on that wallet. So I think I'm going to try a metaphor I didn't try before, and then you're going to tell me if it makes sense to you. All of these addresses already kind of exist on a blockchain. If there's a viable combination of a private and public key, it's already there. So if you would just get a random public key that is viable, you could send money to it, and you can see it on blockchain. But if nobody has a private key of that public key, nobody could ever control or move those funds. So the way I like to think about it is like if you had like an infinite wall of small post boxes that are fully transparent, and they are there the whole time. But then there's like a huge pile of keys there, and when you pick a key, they tell you like it's going to work for that one. And you're the only one who can unlock it and move things out of your wallet. Anybody else can, at any point, put a letter in your mailbox, but you're the only one who can open it to take it out and move it somewhere else. So when you create the wallet, nothing new actually gets created. You're just creating a private key that works on one of the wallets that nobody else is ever going to pick the same one. So to make it safe, what we need is taking very good care of that key. And that key, each public postbox or a wallet has one key. And that key, in terms of how we see it in the digital world, is a random string of letters and numbers that's very hard to remember. So what we did on blockchain to make it nicer and easier is create something that's called deterministic and non-deterministic wallets. One of those is with private keys. One of those means a seed phrase, a 12 or 24 words that convert to a private key, and not just one, but it can be more. And always on the first position is going to be 1, second, third. So one set of words, one seed phrase, actually allows you to control literally, again, an infinite amount of key pairs, but it's a way easier and more friendly way to store it. I think you understand now, after I explained the whole thing, that these 12 words is one thing that you will always need to have control of those wallets, and that it's crucial that nobody else ever find out your 12 words, because that's, again, the only thing they would need to have access to your wallet. And this is, I think, one of the biggest barriers to entry, because this is the kind of bad thing about having full control of your assets that nobody else can have. There is no safety net. With the bank, you are going to register there. You are going to give them your information. They are going to know your name, your ID numbers, everything. And if you lose your phone with your app, you can come in a bank, say, this is really me. They are going to give you access again. But they are the ones who really have the control of your funds, not you. When you have the control of your funds, with that comes the full responsibility to storing the piece of data that gives you the full control. So storing these keys is safely and in a smart way is the most crucial thing that we're going to probably teach you today. So you guys started, yes?
It's just a question, but having forbid software disappears, so no longer viable.
That's a great question. That's the perfect question. So Soulflare in this case is just a client that gives you the rights to use your private key to control your public key. We can export the same set of words into any other client. So this is just like a tool. Soulflare is just one of the wallets that work on Solana that allows you to sign the transactions in a nicer way. Theoretically, if you're a developer, you don't need a client, an app. You could just, install Solana CLI and pass the transaction as an instruction and then sign it with your private key. This is just how we make it more user-friendly. So your Soulflare stops working as long as you have those 12 keys. There are numerous other options how those 12 keys can be used to sign transactions from your wallet. Great question. Thank you so much. So storing these words safely is the most important thing. And there are many errors that people do with it. I'm sure we all have moms, dads, aunts that have their passwords on a sticky note, on a monitor, or just written in a text document. Clearly, if there is anybody who can get access to your PC or your home, then has full access of your fund. Then we can talk about password managers, which are safe or not safe, but we had leaks from some of the most successful and biggest password managers, even like the paid ones, like LastPass had a huge leak. So storing these words in any digital way is considered a bad practice. I'm not saying you should never do it. If you have 10 wallets and one of those wallets you're just using to play around with $5, then probably the convenience of having it stored in an easier way outweighs the potential drawbacks of losing $5. But if you are using that wallet to hold anything of value, storing this in a non-digital way is crucial. And pen and paper is something that we heard in crypto for years, is considered one of those ways. Keeping it in a deposit box in somewhere hidden is the way how you are generally more safe than any digital way of storing it. There are other advanced ways. People are making like those metal plates and then carving in the words so they completely remove the risk of like fire burning their words. Or you can store it in different places. There are more advanced ways where you split the words into 3 sets where no set has the full list and put it in different geographical locations. Depending on how valuable your wallet is, your security practices should go up. But I just want to kind of make sure that you understand that storing it digitally by default always carries risks. People that are way more advanced with security practices got hacked on their personal PCs, business PCs, servers. And that's the main reason why we gave every one of you the recovery sheet and a pen to start you on this journey in a proper way. So I would employ anybody, if you are all now on the step when you said, I need a new wallet, and Soulflare suggested the 12 words for your wallet, I would like you all to use your pen to write the 12 words in the recovery sheet, not let anybody around see it, fold it over, and store it securely. put it somewhere at home. This is what gives you the ability to control the wallet that now you're going to start. If you need any help with that or any explanations, we're here. Let's all do it now.
And if you want to save the recovery sheet to do another one later, just tell us. We have some extras as well. Maybe you want to open a separate wallet later with a different 12-word phrase. Definitely recommend it because this is kind of a more family environment for recording this.
We can give each one of you an extra one of these
Yeah.
if anybody wants to create a new wallet at home and write it down. So I just need hands to who has Solfler from before and wants different. Okay. Are you all able to just add a new wallet under the same seed phrase, or anybody needs help with that? If you guys are on phone, when we open Solfler, we're going to press the 3 lines on the top left, click Edit, Add Wallet, and just say another time Add Wallet. This will just create a new wallet under your same seed phrase. This is just for the guys who had wallets before. Everybody else, please write the words, then confirm on Solfler that you did, and let us know when you're ready for the next step. Anybody who needs any help, just raise your hand and we'll come to you. If anybody prefers to just, save it in their password managers for now and use the recovery sheet for a new wallet at home, that's completely fine. But keep in mind, we are going to be dropping some Solana and some bulk into your wallets today. So still be careful. It's around $90, but I think you don't want to lose it.
Cool. Yep, you say it's like
Are we mostly on that step? We created wallets. Anybody who still isn't done? No? Everybody done? Perfect.
We can continue that.
Yeah.
Go to the next slide just so we...
This is
Oh, yeah.
after, yeah.
The passcode, and you can also enable biometrics so if you have a phone to unlock it. But we now all have a started Solfler wallet. What you can now do inside is let's find out what your public keys are. So if you have it open like this and you press receive, you should all see a QR code and the full public key. We all have this ready?
good.
Perfect. Congratulations to you guys who now have their first wallet installed. You can now receive some funds on it, and we can start playing around.
Yeah.
Perfect. Already explained?
Okay.
And then
Okay. So the first step that we are now all going to do with your new wallets is sign in into the course that we put online, where you're going to be able to see in the checker all of the nest tests that we are going to be doing. So the address is gree.academy/AthensDAO. If you are on your phones, you have some tabs at the bottom, and one looks like the World Wide Web one, the browser, which will allow you to enter this address. Sadly, scanning the thing is not going to put you in your Solfler, but you can scan it, copy paste the address, and then paste it into your mobile browser wallet. So inside of Solfler, you go to the browser and enter that address.
Oh.
Can I ask something?
Yes,
Yeah, so
always,
sexy.
please.
What is the difference between Solver and ledgers?
So Ledger is a hardware wallet that we can shortly explain before the lunch break. And it's an additional security level where your private keys are never inputted in a device, not even in a wallet, but your private keys live in a little device that you need to connect with the wallet, and that the little device is the one signing transactions with your private keys. It's the next step of securing your wallets. So these are all the kind of wallets that still, if somebody had access to your phone when you're entering it or your PC, they could get it. So hardware wallet is additional security where nobody ever, not even your device, gets the keys, because the signature happens from the little special device with a microchip, secure chip that signs the transaction.
That's why we told the people. That's what you said when they to make a new wallet.
Yeah, because the Wallet Connect is always going to allow you any wallet to connect. And then if you're using a ledger through Solflare, which means Solflare, you would connect the ledger without Solflare even getting your keys, you could also connect. So you just select Solflare without ledger. So if you're on that website, connect wallet, and then we're going to sign our first message.
All right, as a note and a reminder to those that already had wallets, you have to create a fresh wallet. If you already had one, you must create a fresh wallet. It must be completely empty to be able to access this site.
To participate in the whole rewards thing, need to be empty wallet. So people with Solflare, be sure to connect the newly creating empty wallet.
Yeah.
When you connect, you're going to be asked to sign the transaction, which is not actually a transaction, just a signature. So to explain, you having a private key allows you to sign a transaction, which could be I'm sending something or I'm doing something. A signature means you are confirming you are the owner of the private key without actually any transaction happening on chain. So that's what all of you are going to be asked to do here. And when you sign that transaction, our system is going to have your wallet in it to follow your next steps. Please, any questions, any help?
What's up?
It's a fun question. Well, you love that. How did you get paid for making you wallet?
Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I like.
Yeah.
That.
As long as it's empty,
It was completely
brand,
empty.
Brand new wallet empty, yeah. So only empty wallets can log on to the website and sign the transaction. We're Solflare, please.
I think first one, right?
It's because of the way that we set it up on the back end.
It would be great if it was Solflare, especially considering they are the ones giving you these rewards for participating.
Yeah. So as long as it's fresh, it just needs a fresh wallet too.
There is another question there.
Yes.
What's up?
You're gonna send all the HXC out, so you're not going.
It is not. We're not taking your data. We're not taking your stuff from you. What's up? Yeah, you're good in the back.
It might be good to say, don't go through the default browser, go through the software browser.
Yeah, so in the app. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Read that.
You should see on your screen, it should say, welcome to Greed Academy, first crypto steps course. You're ready for next steps. Follow the instructions of your mentors. And then at the bottom, it should have your wallet there. And if you touch that, it'll exit. But I'll have Bo and I will take a peek for you.
Yeah, so I'm going, probably you can see here, but I'm in Solflare on an empty wallet. I'm clicking the browser. I'm entering this address here.
Gotcha.
Pressing enter, and it opens this site. I press connect wallet. I select Solflare. I press connect. And then it asks me to sign a message to confirm that I'm the owner of this wallet. I sign it by sliding. And after the signature, you get welcome to Greed Academy First Steps course. If you are on this screen, you're good.
Do you have a question?
Just now, pick up that elevator, some happens down to Martin, yes.
Oh, sorry, case sensitive. Here, thank you. So A and DAO must be capitalized.
What is that?
Okay, who is still not on the screen?
Yes. Anyone not here?
I'm purposely delayed.
Okay,
Need a hand?
Wait, do it now.
perfect. Anybody else who is not here? Everybody else is there?
Yeah.
Perfect.
I mean, is that pretty much it? That's like the end of this. It's just I was gonna have if you wanted to talk about setting up other wallets, but that's about it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Danny, can you check how many people are on the list? 80?
80. Nice.
Is somebody
people-
sending this link around?
How many people are in the room?
If I correct the time, some will be dead to time the money.
I mean, we see all the wallets that connect. So if we see you connect twice, we can give you 0 money. You all signed. So as soon as you, when you hit the sign button, it's a transaction. So on the back end, we know exactly which wallet your public key connected to it. So we can see every single public key that connects. And if there's multiple connections from the same wallet, we can see each time that you sign the transaction. You could. But you might be connected to the same key. So we can easily see the root. Well, yeah, it's true. If you really wanted to do it 8,000 times. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we know how many are you in this room. If there are more wallets, then no funds are going to go out. So I would like the people who signed up multiple times to raise their hands and give their wallets to Danny. Or if anybody sent the link out, also to let him know, please. Otherwise, we're going to have to collect each one of your wallets and attach your name to that. So whoever was trying to be smart, if we count more wallets there, then you are here. Look, we have 80 wallets so far signed up.
I signed up to yeah. So I signed up to double check as
Perfect.
well.
Okay. So
I don't really want the funds.
we will now be ready after lunch to go with the next steps.
Yep.
Before that, I'm going to just show you one more thing here in Solflare when we're already here, which is going to be how easily you could create another wallet which has a completely different private key and can definitely not be linked anyway on chain with you. And we can go all together and press the three lines on the top left on the home wallet page. We press edit, add wallet, and we just select the first option that says add wallet. Let's not do it now to not make it more difficult, but this would easily create another wallet in your device that you control and that you can use for any other purpose you want. And these wallets on chain, and nobody but you could know that these wallets are both yours.
Yeah,
Yes.
what's up?
Question. Okay, so we have like phrase and then do we save that?
You don't need to save anything. That's your public key. That's your wallet address. This just means you are signed in into our system.
All right. Yeah, what's up?
Okay. Is there anybody still who is not? Yes. I'll explain that right now. So everybody is on this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I just need 1 second.
I get out that. Yeah.
Your wallet.
Yeah, what's up?
No, he's still another hardware viable.
Yeah, so actually it goes with his question, so I'll answer both at the same time. Yeah. Vosh, is there something else you want to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Danny, you have a number?
Like, you know, like, so, 89.
Okay,
Yeah, so,
Let's go.
we were at 82 last time?
Yep.
Okay.
Whatever.
They're already doing similar attacks. We got them.
I know. You teach them well when they know. All right. So I'm going to answer some questions, though, in between while Vashi is figuring that out. This gentleman here asked the question about burner wallets. This gentleman here asked about cold storage wallets or Keystone. So there are several different types of ways that people like to store and use their wallets. One very common term that people use is burner wallet. What most of you pretty much just created is what we would definitely call a burner wallet. This is simply because this wallet, even though you have it stored on a recovery key, is still considered a hot wallet, which means that a hot wallet means that you standardly use it to sign transactions. A cold wallet is a wallet that's secured behind something like a keystone or a ledger where you standardly never do any transactions. The idea between these two types of wallets is one that you use actively. So a hot wallet or a burner wallet is an active wallet. It's a wallet that you'll send stuff to friends, you'll buy NFTs, you'll buy meme coins, you'll do whatever, you'll have your fun on. So these hot wallets are standardly used to do your day-to-day transactions or anything that you want to do that interacts with other wallets and signing. So you just signed that one transaction, right? Where we went to the Greed website and you signed that transaction with us. If that was something that was nefarious, as Vashi explained yesterday with some of the Greed experiments, when you sign that transaction, we could have set it up to be something not good for you. It could have taken your data, you signed that transaction, you said yes. Well, signature can't, but what happened behind it? Yeah. And so a cold wallet or a cold storage wallet, which is like a Ledger or a Trezor, or there's a bunch of other different cold storage wallets, is something where you're not trying to sign any transactions. You're just storing something there so that you can make sure that it's safe.
Wallet doesn't necessarily need to be a hardware wallet.
Also
You can
true.
have a wallet installed in this way that you just never connect to anything, and when you want to do a transaction, you're moving funds to a hot wallet, you connect, and you do something up. So a cold wallet doesn't necessarily need to be a hardware wallet, but let's say in our world, we're going to have like a kind of like hardware wallet, back security, cold wallet, hot wallet, and then a burner wallet is how we follow those wallets that we are ready to connect to anything, because there's always, not enough funds to first us if you want to try something new site that we didn't have like full trust in yet or so on. The best practice is to always connect an interactive wallet that only hold the funds that you want to send in the next transaction or data. It's sometimes hard, but that could be like the perfect hygiene of how to use wallet. So if you have a wallet you do lots of buy, you want to connect from some protocol with something, don't use that wallet. You can easily create a new wallet that will show you. You move a bit of fund there, you connect that, do whatever, and then the worst thing that could happen is you losing that amount if something nefarious happens. Software is very, very good about warning you about that changes. Software is going to make you a simulation of a transaction so you exactly know the transaction that you're signing, how much is going out of your wallet, how much is going into your wallet. If you connect to a site that's not already whitelisted, that they can't trust it, it's going to warn you that you're connecting to a site that might be nefarious or something, and it's going to make you click 5 more times to operate sometimes to make sure you know what you're doing, which for us experience here, it's sometimes a bit tricky because you do know what you're doing, but for the user like you, it's actually an amazing way to view it. Still, even with all the worry, as you know from outside of crypto, hackers will always find a way to think of a new, system to fool you or to make you think something is safe. So always be smart. And I think the best advice about wallet hygiene, no matter if you call them hot, cold, burning, whatever, if you know you're going to make a transaction, that interacting with that. So like if you're just sending to another wallet, that is right. Like if you just go send one soul to Solana, there's a. But if you're connecting your wallet to a website, if you are interacting with any kind of smart contract, which is called programs of Solana, then You know exactly what to expect to that transaction and what amount of fund is supposed to go outside of your wallet. Have that amount and not more on your wallet. So nothing bad and have any notice that please. But essentially to avoid getting down the back of the road because you could take the cost. But because if I transferring whatever amount to another wallet IO, that's one transaction fee. You are deprecating that's right. You do the transfers from first to second wallet will include a transaction fee. Transaction fee on Solana is 0.000050, which is the kind of amount where I think you can do like a million of these transactions and still be under the one transaction cost on any other currently popular smart contract network. And I think I made transactions on Ethereum and Bitcoin that my defining with Solana for 3 lifetimes, I would not cut close. So like the transaction fee on Solana is completely negligible. And that's what's nice, and we got used to it. But people who didn't use Solana are still thinking differently. They like that's what makes it great for the user. A normal transaction costs you literally nothing.
So there's two questions.
Nothing to do.
Side by side. Okay, one is there's a world icon on the app.
Yes.
So when you press that, it says once you connect wallets thingy. Is that if you wanted to open up another wallet?
Did you maybe change to a new wallet app?
No.
So the same one that you were before?
Yeah, same one. I did it twice again.
You let people to check it. Okay. That's case we can
All right, Bosch.
Does that mean I have two?
No, I think it's just the same one. So you can just disconnect and reconnect to do it.
Okay, next question is so does this wallet is it for only Solana or other?
Yes, on Solana, you can hold Solana and any token on Solana. You hold USDT. I think we now have over million tokens on Solana. About 10 million of them, but it supports NFTs and tokens on Solana. Anything that's on Solana blockchain, you can see that what they do is run it all. There was another great site that way. I tell it where's that you yeah, so Solana does a great job of that. And you can make a simulation of exactly what the results of the transactions are and what the end state is. So Solana is going to tell you, like, you're settling, you're doing something with that, you connected your wallet, it's going to tell you. You are now sending one salt, your wallet is going to end up with $270 more for a triple swap. So you can see it, but I'm saying one is like site that you don't trust already. Even that simulation is not something that you should blindly always trust, because people who want to take your money company do find ways how to fake it. Current software simulation, I think there is no way to fake it that we know right now. But always be careful, and if you're spotting one soul, it's better to have just a bit over one soul in your wallet. But not say in your account or your file. It's about finding a way you're right. Then it's going to tell you exactly that software is going to tell you if transaction is delegating your token account to this entity, make sure you trust them, and it will ask you another thing to confirm that you understand exactly what you're doing. Yeah, super the software pages, and we have make sure the other software has access to account. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
The only your private keys are only stored in your device. Software is just a tool that enable a user-friendly way how you're signing whatever you want to do with a private key. Software does not receive your private keys. The private keys that you enter here never leave your device, and they are stored depending on the device type, interstate cardinal way.
Custodial, you want to say? No.
They so if I want to make my own it's like couple of study that these for using the rules get that. So some wallets are open source,
and you can verify that that's exactly the build that you're downloading. So it's sharing messaging. There are other ways like network, again, you can ways how to exactly read what packets are going in and out. And every wallet that is, let's say, recommending they know is going to have audit being done, including that you can be sure that your fee is not being sent somewhere. Clearly, there were examples like Flock Wallet from Solana that those people were especially not to make it if you ever have a crash report that they are including this as part of the local storage in the crash report, which is a bit crazy. I was like, I think I was silent for a while.
This thing says I was muted. Okay. So you can never be fully sure if you weren't, re-verifying every day. But using an open source wallet and downloading a verified build that you don't change is one way of doing that. I think Solfler is actually currently not open source. And there are reasons that I don't want to get into why right now. But they are a company that is very, very focused on being secure, and they see not being open source as a way to add to that, because the way how they're doing simulations and making sure you're safe now, if they were fully open source, somebody who wants to find a way around them would have an easier time going around it.
If I say organization, but anything like regulation, like private,
Oh, of course there is. All of these companies are audited by multiple known auditors, which means every line of code was looked by 5 different teams of specialists whose only work, and they get paid a lot in this space, is to validate that nothing can be breached and that everything they claim is exactly true.
And they do those regularly as well. It's not like you just get one audit and you're done. Like companies like this get audited normally, and it's public information. So they make sure that people know that like this can be trusted. But I have to kind of close this up so that we can move into lunch.
Only if there's any other questions that are like for now. Okay.
Oh.
How would this company wallet money to support this?
That's a good question, because we have Solfler joining us finally right now. Good tax experience in Greece. Let's go. Amazing. They make money in a few different ways. Can I share how Solfler makes money, Tim? Absolutely. Solfler has several ways of making money. One of them is if you do a swap directly from the wallet, which is for many users more convenient than connecting to a dApp through a browser, they're going to add a small fee. Also, when you're staking to a validator, and Solfler is, by the way, first Solana wallet that was ever created, and the first version of Solfler was there before Solana mainnet, and was the recommended way to stake Sol from the original Solana documentation. Solfler now has their own validator. When users go to stake their Sol, they're going to recommend you their Solfler validator, which has some commission on it, and validators make money in different ways too. So Solfler is, let's say, making money from offering users some more convenient and helping ways that they may decide to take that incurs some fee. And that's pretty much like the two base ways of how Solfler makes money.
Oh, yeah.
It's like not other advertising. For example, if you go to your Phantom wallet, it might say you can claim your penguin donkey, for example, right now. And I know that Phantom got paid.
Yes.
What the feature?
Yes.
That's what Solfler had that.
Solfler, from what I know, never added a banner being pushed that was paid for, but they did have partnerships in the ecosystem that they wanted to give something to their users. So for example, around Christmas, MonkeyDAO, which is one of the best known DAOs and the communities on Solana, the NFTs of monkeys that maybe you've seen around, they had a campaign together that actually Solfler was the one paying for, where monkeys have some ability to do something, other people can participate, and then in your Solfler wallet, there was a banner reminding the, people to participate, but they were not, I think, never participated so far in a campaign where they got paid to do it. I'm not going to go into is that right or wrong. I think for me, For a wallet, I think if they can find alternative ways that don't affect me to make money compared to me either paying for it or collecting or selling my data, I support it as long as it's something beneficial for at least part of the users and I can click an X on it, which is something to it. So if I don't care, I can just remove it. Okay, if there's no more questions, we're going to do, there is?
One more.
Okay, we have lunch until 3, so we're not in a huge rush.
No.
Yes.
If I stake, let's say, my soul and the counter 7 API, is this therapy that I did start to set up the hearing software?
We have a 4th lesson that's going to go into that, so let's maybe keep that for then. I can explain how validators work and what's your actual API and what you're getting and who is taking a cut on it. So let's now keep it on the simple wallet side if anybody has any more questions. Okay, so guys, before we go, we're going to do just one more thing, please. We are going to take a lunch break until 3 p.m. and the lunches were delivered here for everybody. We can take them and go out in the yard, hang out, and all of us can answer any questions also there. So at 3, we are back to continue. I would like just to ask you if you could slap your greet stickers on you so we can recognize you more easily. And second, before we go for a lunch break, if we can find the slide with our partners now, and we could ask all of you to stand in front here to just snap one photo because I think now is the perfect time to do that. That would be highly appreciated, and thank you very much. So let's come down here, one photo, and then we go to lunch. But for now, the next person that I'm super happy to present, who is getting mic'd up right now, is Tin, also known as Callahan. As you might have understood, all of us know each other mostly, but these nicknames we use around crypto. He is here from Solflare. He is one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, that they decided to put 0.2 Sol in each of your wallets and start you on the crypto journey and make this whole thing possible. Super happy to have them as a partner. I'm going to let him tell you shortly about what he does and if he has any suggestions to you. And after that, we're going to go into just a short fireside chat if we have time. So please, a big applause for Tim. And just once again, Dean and Taki, who are the main reason why this whole thing is happening. Please, Dean, take it away.
Yeah, thank you. My mic on? Okay. As Washi already introduced me, I'm from Solflare, currently leading their performance marketing team. And today I would like to briefly take you through my experience with crypto, especially Solana, and maybe encourage some of you to also take that route because it literally changed my life. So back in 2020, 5 years ago, I was having coffee with a friend of mine who told me about crypto. That was the first time ever I heard about crypto. I was like, what the fuck is that? And when he told me how it works and everything, all the red check marks were blinking in my head like, okay, this is a scam. And then he told me one sentence that I have in my heart until today. He told me, you know what my parents told me 30 years ago when internet came along? They told me, nah, this is going to be something that is going to pass by. People won't catch up to it and so on. And he told me, I don't want to be that person 30 years from now when I will talk to my kids about crypto. And that alone got me thinking. And I got home. I installed Binance, which is central exchange, which I obviously wouldn't recommend to keep your funds there. But it was basically the first interaction I had with crypto. And the story I definitely like to tell is why I bought my first Solana is because I like the logo of it. I scrolled through all the cryptocurrencies, and when I got to Solana, I said, oh, this one looks nice. And I bought it. Solana was then trading at $1.50. I invested like $100 or so. And then in that first bull market that I caught, my portfolio went up like 100 to 200%. 100 to 200 times in value. And I was like baffled with all the money I got because I was working for a salary of $1,000 back then. I had no savings. I had no funds to spend on anything. And it was an eye opener. Like, okay, what can I now do with all of this money? And then I was introduced to NFTs. If you can see from my PFP, that's also an NFT. Then I lost all of my money on NFTs because because they were fun to collect. I was part of a certain DAOs, as you already heard now. I thought that I was smart enough to trade them. Like, okay, I'm going to buy this NFT for 15 Solana. Then when floor goes up twice as much, I'm going to sell it. Of course, I didn't because I thought that it can go even higher. I got into some plays that I'm not proud of. I got, again, back to zero. But I also saw something there which you covered today here with Washi and the Grid Academy, and that is the potential of Solana as a blockchain, as a technology, as an opportunity for self-custody, new financial system in the world. And that is exactly what our mission at Solflare is, to basically be the single point of your finances where you will be the main person responsible for everything you own and not be dependent on banks, on inflation, on all the ugly stuff that is currently also happening in the world. And then I start from zero again, starting investing little by little. And obviously, Washi was one of the first people that actually recognized my value. I am now with 14 years of experience in marketing. I worked in marketing agencies in Web2 mostly, with all possible industries for automotive industry, retail, web shops, and so on and so on. And I got into some projects with Washi. We worked together. I saw a lot of potential there. And especially, let me tell you, when you got from 4-figure job and you see that for the exact amount of work that you do in Web2, in Web3, you can get paid like 5 or 6x. And you actually see how much people value that what you can bring. Like if any of you will become developers, salesperson, marketing people, journalists, it doesn't matter. Crypto has a room for all of you, and especially Solana, because I honestly think that it's far superior to any other chain, which of course the reasons you heard today from Grid Academy. And at the beginning, it was really challenging because I was working my Web2 job from 9 to 5, and then from 5 to midnight or 1 a.m., I was grinding in DAOs, in communities, in NFT communities, trying to make contacts, networking, doing marketing work for all of these projects, marketplaces, and so on. And in the end, it paid off because I ended up buying this NFT, which you see here. And if you could take a guess, how much did I pay for this image of a pixelized skeleton? No, I didn't mint it. Too much. I paid 50,000 euros. Probably the same, around the same. But that's the thing. I started with like $1,000 in my account. I was living from paycheck to paycheck. I didn't have any savings. And I got to the point where I could have additional 50,000 euros with I wouldn't blink and spend on an image of a pixelized skeleton. But how do you explain that to your mother or father? You can, because it is a complete lunacy, right? But as crypto works with DAOs and communities, this PFP or this NFT doesn't work as a solely an image on a chain. It works as an entry point to a community where I'm now a member of for over a year now, where I get to meet founders, investors. I get to network. I got a lot of more job offers, and in the next 6 months, this investment paid off completely, and it honestly got me to where I am today, because it got me to work with another project, which I then shielded to Solflare so they can use it. Solfer then also recognized my value in the space from a marketing point of view, and I started working for Solfer. And 6 months ago, or 6 months-ish ago, I was able to go full-time Web3, and honestly, I'm now living my dream. I get to travel, I get to work with amazing people like Washi, like all of the guys here from Grid Academy and from AthensDAO. If money is something that motivates you, and I hope that it doesn't, but of course we can't live without money. Me coming from the Balkan region where paychecks are not that big, it's definitely a game changer. It changed my life, and it brought me here today where I can honestly be a part of a movement of a new technology, but I honestly think that will change the financial world in the future. And obviously, now that I am in Solfer, I'm trying to think of all the cool and interesting ways where we can collaborate with other projects, communities, technologies, developers, whatever. And lately, of course, we partnered up with Grid Academy because even though crypto is cool, crypto is great, you can make money and everything, something that is missing is obviously education, because you can get scammed, you can get, there's a lot of frauds, you can get pretty vulnerable if you're not educated enough. So obviously the right move here was to support Grid Academy in that mission. Me personally was a valedictorian of their first semester because I really believed in what they do. I staked some SOL, I did the lessons, and I got, as Washi said, like $5,000 or $6,000 in rewards just for completing the lessons and staking some SOL. By some SOL, I staked a lot of SOL, but you will get there step by step. But of course, some people that can say, okay, but you got lucky by then choosing Solana because you like the logo. I don't believe in luck. I believe that everything we do in life and every single choice that we make in life leads to that point in time, which somebody could then consider as luck. But everything you do now, everything you choose now, and will lead you to that moment which other people around you could consider as luck. You get lucky, you're now in the industry, you get paid a lot and so on. No, there's a lot of smart decisions on that path. There's a lot of failures on that path, but every single decision you make now will definitely potentially lead you to a place that you want to be in the future. And obviously, to be in a place where you will actually work with passion and will be fulfilled with what you do. And when I look around, how I see your faces, and that we now onboarded like more than 90 people to Solana and to crypto, my heart is filled with happiness, and I couldn't be more excited about everything that Grid Academy has in store for semester 2, and then possibly semester 3, 4, 5, or whatever. Like, we are here to support them with Solflare. So obviously, use your Solflare wallets, learn from everything that we are trying to do with Grid. We will also have our own educational hub, which will, of course, won't be in confrontation with Grid, because it will be just our sort of way of educating people to use Solflare products and Solflare features. But yeah, 2025 will definitely be very interesting for Solflare. So please follow us, because we have a lot of in store for you guys, and a lot of rewards, a lot of potential opportunities to grow in the space personally and from business point of view. So yeah, thank you very much. And we are so happy to be able to support this initiative. So please be with us in semester 2.
One quick thing that I will say about the presentation, things you said about the money in this space, but
Yeah.
I think one more important thing is, are you having way more fun working in this space than you had in the normal?
Absolutely. That's what I was trying to say. I hope that money is not your main motivator in life, because obviously crypto is very fun. You can do a lot of stuff. You can do all the fun stuff like we at Solflare, like we did on the last breakpoint in Singapore. We did like a big party, closing party with airdrops and everything. So basically, crypto is a fun space, engaging space. It could be really fun, and you will obviously get to that part where you will also, as Washi said, earn money, but you will also have fun doing it, and you won't be stuck in that Web 2
It's
Cocoon,
definitely not boring,
it's definitely not boring.
but
Yeah.
it does move crazy quickly,
Yeah.
and there is
Yeah.
a lot of work, but
Yeah.
I think it's super fun, and I would recommend it just as a thing to everybody. For our fireside chat, to prove this point, for another client, Danny had to go and finalize a very important announcement copy, so he had to skip our fireside, and that's Web3 for you. But I think we're all happy that we got involved. So thank you once again, Tin, and thank you, Solsor, for supporting this. I think you made everybody here very happy.
Yep.
One huge more applause for Solsor, please. Let's take any direct questions for Tin shortly, and let's do like a 10-minute fireside with 4 of us, and then go for the, finger food and alcohol.
Yeah, sure.
So please, any questions for Tin?
Yeah, if you have any questions, go ahead. Hello?
You mentioned that buying an NFT tells you with your job and with less working.
Yep.
Can you explain a bit more how that system?
Yeah, so when I said obviously that my NFT was and is quite expensive, there are a lot of NFTs or a lot of entry points to a lot of communities which are not as expensive. You can obviously buy like a monkey for Solana monkey business, which is a monkey DAO. Entry point to that community is like 2 Sol, so like $500. It's not that obscene, but basically the whole idea of getting inside of community is to connect with people who are working currently in the space, who are trading in the space, from who you can learn, from who you can copycat their moves. You can make friends. You can definitely go on a calls. You can explore all the possibilities in which you can work together to go further in your personal growth and in business growth, but especially to be a part of something which is then valued on a much higher level when it comes to basically being present in Solana ecosystem. So for me, buying an NFT was obviously in the beginning very fun because I'm a big gamer. I like NFTs. I like the whole community part of it and so on. But in the end, it actually brought me to, I would say, tight-knit communities like this one. This is Dead King Society. There are only 100 of us there, like 100 kings. And there are smart money people, founders, investors, and so on. Honestly, like 2 days after I joined, I got 3 job offers. Like when I just introduced myself and say what I do, like I have experience in marketing, in performance marketing, in advertising, and so on. I got immediate 3 job offers. So I think that even starting within some bigger communities like Monkey DAO or Famous Foxes or whatever, you please explore all the communities on Solana. That could be your entry point to different DAOs, to communities, and so on. But basically, for a simple reason, to connecting with people and be able to learn from them and connect with them and see how you can grow together. So it's all about finding opportunities in the space, and the easiest way to do it is through those communities. So that is in summary. Yeah, sure. Any other questions? Yeah, sure.
You're actually in space to the money.
Yeah.
Is it not to be different?
Definitely not. Yeah, definitely not. I mean, as I said, in our space, and I said our space, in Solana space, there are room for salespeople, business development people like Miro here, who is also from Solflare. He does our partnerships and collaborations and so on, for journalists, for developers, for market people, and so on. So basically, what I did in Web2, and that was advertising, performance marketing, user acquisition marketing, through social media, digital channels, web portals, and so on. I just continued that work in Web3 because projects and companies in Web3 also need marketing. They also need user acquisition, user retention, and so on. So basically, I just transferred that knowledge and experience to Web3 and continue my work there. But of course, on the way, I did learn a lot about technology, development, what developers actually do, and so on, because it helps me with my job to understand how to market certain products and features. But of course, I honestly, personally don't know how to code. I don't understand the syntax of the programming languages and so on. But so no, definitely it's not necessary to be a developer to succeed in this space. Yeah, sure.
No, I agree. Since you've probably heard a lot about, yes, coding, developing, and so on, and that's a great question. Just want to uh, take 2 minutes to say a bit about myself because it might be relatable. So I do business development at Solver, but when I was a university student, I did a degree in sociology and then a master's in political science. And then I worked at an immigration law firm, and then I worked for like a headhunting, recruiting company, and so on. So like quite different path, right? I ended up exploring first. So in my personal space, found that that's something interesting to me. Um, Regardless of what always you was studied here, Web3 does require interest, right? It requires proactivity. So even from like a hiring perspective, as you asked, right? There's many companies, many projects in the space that does, in fact, even like post job opportunities on LinkedIn, right? But rather look to hire through networks essentially, or like people who have some knowledge or interest in this space, which is like quite key since it is still like an early and developing industry. So my advice there is to be interested, to explore this space, to enter some communities that even have like lower entry points. You don't need to pay 50,000 euros to join, right? But also to really like make effort in developing soft skills as well. So like I don't know a line of code as you asked, but I think with like interest to see what's possible in the space, you can certainly find what to do. You know, there's designers here as well, in like who create like interfaces and user experiences as well, like on these different applications, right? So there's like quite a wide spectrum of what's possible to do in this space. So just go into it, explore, see what's of interest, and develop yourself.
Yeah, agreed.
Maybe.
Agreed.
Yeah.